Okay.
Okay, yeah, good. I believe we're now live for neighborhood count for YouTube and recording. So Lee, it's in your hands. I'm sorry, Ren, it's in your hands now.
Okay. Yeah, call the meeting to order, whatever it is, 6:37.
And I see, I guess I do see Armin in our attendees list. I do see him here. Okay.
Okay, good. We have a presentation tonight from the developer of the project at 11003 Moore Park Street. And so I'd like to go straight to that and then come back to the other items on the agenda, the minutes and so forth after the presentation. If there's objection, we will go forward and listen to Armin's presentation. Hearing none, Armin, the floor is yours.
Ren, hang on, you didn't give me a chance. This is Tess Taylor. I have a quick point of order. 2 questions. One, has Lee Jameson resigned from the committee? I don't see him on the agenda, committee agenda anymore.
I have not resigned, negative.
Okay. Ren, is there a reason he's not on the agenda?
Well, I was under the impression that he had resigned, so.
Is there an agenda? Is there an agenda item for that resignation?
No.
Okay. And he just said he has not resigned. So.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll put him back on the agenda and count him as a member. I'm sorry, Lee.
Okay. And just for clarity, if we vote on anything today, since Lee is a member and since his not being on the agenda is, I guess, an error, will he be able to vote?
I would think so.
Okay.
It's a clerical error that I left him off.
I mean,
Not any kind of.
I haven't seen him on the agenda before, and no. Where did he go? Actually,
He was on previous agendas, and I didn't have a
not
chance.
on the Zoom anymore. But
I think he missed a meeting, and I assumed that he dropped off, but he hadn't. So that was my mistake.
Okay, then, and then 2 other quick items, a point of order, well, 2 questions actually. I don't think we can skip public comment. We can go from public comment to the presentation. But my question is, when we get to the presentation, well, we should do public comment first and then get to the presentation. I don't think we can just skip it or not do it at all. So.
Well, I was not planning to not do it at all, but
Okay.
If you insist, certainly let's have public comment.
No, well, then I apologize because you were introducing the presenter. So I thought we were skipping public comment. All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Well, if we're going to public comment, we have you do have 2 hands up in the
okay.
List if you're ready for them, Ren.
Okay. I don't see them, so you'll have to call on them for me.
Yeah, I'll do it. First is David Wheatley.
Okay, David.
Hi, David.
Hi, everybody. Good to see you. I only see 3 people. Like to see more if possible. And I'm a stakeholder in Toluca Lake, and I've been doing some research into CEQA that I wanted to share with you. It's the California Environmental Quality Act, CEQA. And I'd like to read just a little bit of this for you. The foremost principle under CEQA is that the legislature intended the act to be interpreted in such a manner so as to afford the fullest possible protection to the environment within the reasonable scope of the statutory language. The environmental impact report is the heart of CEQA and the primary means of ensuring that public agencies take all action necessary to protect, rehabilitate, and enhance the environmental quality of the state. And part of this is so that the public knows the pros and cons of how decisions regarding CEQA is made. So many of the staff reports we get only show why CEQA does not apply, and they put little or nothing in there about why it should apply. They're also required to truthfully inform the public, which to me means raise your right hand, the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And what they give us is a partial truth, which just says CEQA does not apply. This is not right, and it's a violation of a case, Citizens of Goleta Valley versus the Board of Supervisors from 1990. So we absolutely have to be more aware of these projects that come before boards like this or committees like this, that of what is missing, the vast amounts of information that is almost always missing, the neighboring properties, the character of the neighborhood is often left out. All they do is show their beautiful diagrams, nothing else. And this absolutely has to be changed, effective immediately. Thank you.
Who was the other person, Colby?
I'm sorry. I'm trying to get my external speaker to work and I dropped out there. Yeah, we'll move on. We have Joanne Rivas.
Yes, hi. I want to discuss, it seems like Toluca Lake is gearing towards becoming a high density area. We already have that going on with North Hollywood becoming another DTLA of the Valley. And it's just getting to be overwhelming. We need areas that are, you know, a little bit more suburban, a little bit more green, a little bit more family friendly. And I get that, you know, that it's this push for, there's so many homeless, but let's be honest, any of these projects coming to Toluca Lake are not going to help the homeless. They will never be able to afford it. It's all high-end stuff. And there's just no need to, you know, make Toluca Lake, you know, which is a jewel of a community, into you know, another NoHo arts district or a DTLA of the Valley. So that's just what I want to make my comment. Thank you.
Thank you. We have Mehmet. Let me just check on him. Hi, Mehmet. Do you want a public comment or do you want to come in another time?
Well, where did you want me? I'm here on Ren's invitation, but I'm just kind of curious about where you want me to be here on the agenda exactly.
Okay. Ren, you want to save him for?
Actually, this would be a good time, Annette, if you want to make comments or brief us on things that are going on.
We have
Okay.
actually we have one more. If we have one more quick comment, maybe we should go to Jonathan Dredry real quick, if that's okay, Mehmet.
Yeah,
For public
fine with me.
Back to you. Okay.
Yep.
Thanks for understanding, Mehmet. Jonathan.
Hi, I'll be very quick. When there's going to be a presentation of a real estate development project, I would appreciate it if you, as the board, will do your best to find out to state when the notice of hearing will be issued. In other words, when do people who live proximate to this project learn about it? Because they're not learning about it right now. And also pay attention to what used to be on that lot in its history. That matters. Thank you.
Thanks, Jonathan. Ryan, would you like to go back to Mehmet?
Yes, please.
Okay. Hi, Mehmet.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, so I was just here. Ren had asked about kind of seeing about planning staff coming for an update at some point with you all about the Southeast Valley community plans. So basically, so the 3 community plans are being kind of worked on at once, as you may or may not know. So there's the Van Nuys North Sherman Oaks community plan area, the Sherman Oaks Studio City, Toluca Lake, and then there's a North Hollywood Valley Village one. So they're kind of looking at all 3 at the same time. And basically, they're still in a concept refinement phase. So folks may remember that they were last out a couple of years ago, where they worked on some concepts. They talked to the community. They had meetings with different stakeholder groups. So they're still in that refinement phase. and they're working on their draft general plan land use maps, which will be released sometime in the spring or summer of next year, which is the intent. And those are going to be kind of the main documents to watch and go off of course, because that'll be kind of what's on the ground. They're also going to formally launch their EIR analysis next year. So there's still kind of a bit of time left before for them to come back out. So what I think kind of makes sense is if you all as a neighborhood council are, I think one thing to do would be to start with those where they're at from the concepts. So if you go on to the planning website, you can kind of just Google Southeast Valley Community Plan and you'll get there. But I'm happy to share the links with Ren, with Colby to move to just show you exactly where it's at. There are some concept maps. So for instance, with Toluca Lake, you'd be looking at the I think it's the Sherman Oaks Studio City one, and then you'd also have the North Hollywood Valley Village one. And those are very basic kind of high level initial concepts of where potential nodes could be, et cetera. That could give you something to start off of. And, I would say that you have time as a community to, maybe this is a good chance for Toluca Lake to kind of think about preparing something that you want to have for when planning comes back out, essentially. So you have a new board, right? A newly elected board. Maybe it's something that you want to do. I don't know. But something to say, look, we've looked at these concept plans. Here's what we think about that, or here's what we want to see. However you want to do it. Otherwise, expect kind of the next calendar year in 2022 for when they'll be back out. So I think that's kind of the update there. Obviously, my real only other update is just kind of, the news that obviously, well, maybe not obviously, it kind of just happened on Friday, but that Toluca Lake will be moving to CD2. So just, as we go forward for the next few months, we'll be focusing on transitioning. So we have a very good relationship with CD2. And it's going to be my focus to make sure that everything that was going on in Toluca Lake is transitioned properly to appropriate staff at CD2. So, it's going to be a change, but I think, ultimately we're going to make this transition as painless as possible for folks. So, and feel free to reach out anytime, obviously, to me. But I think those are the updates.
Mehmet, our GTLNC was very active when the planning people came out with the initial concepts and outreach about the community plan. And we had, I think, 3 or maybe 4 different meetings with the planners to give them our input.
Excellent.
And everything has been quiet for 2 years. So we're all waiting to see how our input got incorporated. And of course, now we've got a whole group of new players. So they're up to speed fairly quickly on what all this is about. But I appreciate your keeping us up to date and keep us in mind as these things come through. Make sure we get on the planners' agendas.
Sure. And just, given the timeline, obviously that's going to be one of the things, as I mentioned, with the transition for us to work on, to make sure that CD2 staff know kind of where you're at and the work that you all have put in so far going in. So that's going to be one of those things that's on the list there. So
yeah, because we just started to make some progress with the 134 underpass and getting that moving forward after all this time. And it's just, I hope this, please make the introduction. I want to talk to them very soon.
Yeah. And I think you should still be pretty okay there. You have the city clerk finally kind of getting on that one. But yeah, that'll be it. And obviously, you know, Colby, we can just chat offline and make sure we have all that kind of assembled and ready to go. So
Excellent. Okay, thank you.
yeah.
May I ask a few questions?
All right.
Okay, well, first, there seems to be a little bit of feedback on somebody's Zoom. I don't know if anybody else is hearing it, but Mehmet, does this mean we're gonna lose you, Mehmet?
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
I know.
darn.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. So
yeah.
when's our last dance?
Yeah, no, and this kind of happened, you know, to us and fast in a little way. Just kind of this shift of Toluca Lake. So I'm pretty bummed about it, but it's gonna happen pretty quickly. And actually, that's something I should also, if folks are interested in, the next dates are, well, basically tomorrow is going to be a meeting at City Council. The City Council will receive what the ad hoc committee did. And then then there'll be a state required hearing on the 10th. Then there's a second state required hearing. And as of now, the date I'm hearing is December 1 to possibly adopt. But as I think we've talked about before, they just have to adopt by December 31. So I think we're looking at sometime in December for adoption, according to this schedule. So yeah, it's gonna happen relatively fast now. But you know, we will, like I said, that'll be the job, is making sure that folks are transitioned well. And
But
you know,
it's a done
yeah.
deal, right, Matt? I mean, there's no more comments. Or
Yeah, it
discussion?
pretty much is. I mean, there are small things that can change at this point, but you know, Toluca Lake is 13,000 people, and I don't think there's any appetite in the community to kind of be split. So that kind of a size of a change is too far gone at this point from everything I've heard. So I mean, we never want to silence anyone's voice. If folks want to get out there and say, wait, why are we separated from CD4? Please, you know, call in and do so. But yeah, pretty much. It's just a move of that size has so many down the road things, and that's kind of what the ad hoc committee was there for. And now that it's kind of voted and had its piece, my understanding is that something on this scale isn't going to be feasible at this point.
So Mehmet, I'm very sorry to lose you, and because you've been really wonderful, and
Yeah.
I'm certain that we'll stay in touch, but this is
Sure.
this is too bad. But just from a technical standpoint, is more or less the entire Greater Toluca Lake Neighborhood Council District, which includes Toluca Woods, Toluca Terrace, and West Toluca Lake, those will also be moved into CD2. Is that right?
Yep, the entire Greater Toluca Lake Neighborhood Council is going
Okay.
to be in CD2.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then a technical question about the community plan and the comments.
Sure.
That you said. I know these were submitted a couple of years ago. This was before I was on the neighborhood council. You said that we'll be able to look at these plans and make, I don't know, suggestions or updates. So my question to you is, when it's that far along, what options would then be available at that point? Changes, additions, or is it pretty much a fait accompli at that point?
No, definitely not a fait accompli, because their environmental process will be ongoing then. So like very much in the time frame of when to make changes and to do things. So you're really kind of like, right, you're fine, basically, as far as things go.
Okay, so, okay, good. Thank you very much. And we'll talk offline, Mehmet.
Sure. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi,
Ren-
Mehmet, it's Fred
Ren-
Iberry, really quick. Is there a way we could see the new boundaries of these new council districts?
If you share with me, hold on one second. I'm gonna,
Let me just throw in, if we go on CD2, Councilman Kokorian is a crook. He's a supporter of the developer, so we're kind of screwed if we get CD2.
I'm looking at it right now. It's North Hollywood, Studio City, Sun Valley, Valley Glen, Valley Village, and Van Nuys.
Right. Well, that's fine, but I want to look at the actual diagrams. Is there a way I could see that?
I can first, if, yeah, I can tell you where to go. I'm gonna have to
Sure,
tell
I have
you.
a pen and paper. I can write it down, or you can email me, whatever.
Yeah. I can obviously, I can email this to Colby afterwards, but if folks, there's a it's a relatively simple URL.
Okay.
So it's redistricting 2021.
Okay.
So redistricting 2021
Okay.
.lacity.org.
Okay.
/ ad hoc LACC
Okay.
/ HTML
Mhm.
/ maps
Okay.
_ tools.
Did you say tools? TOOLS?
Yeah, tools
Okay.
.html. And
Dot
then,
H.
and let me just, I'm going to send it to Colby and he can distribute
That's amazing. Thank you so much.
afterwards. And what you'll see there is there's a link. There's also an LAS story that I think links to the same thing because they made a Google map. But if you go on there, it says Maptitude. And then under that, there's a link that says Los Angeles City Council recommended districts 11-05-2021. It's green text. If you click that, that's going to bring up this Google map, and then you can zoom in and move around. And that's everything that was recommended by the ad hoc committee. And there might be smaller changes that will come from that.
Okay.
But like I said, bigger stuff, moves of 10,000 people probably aren't going to be happening.
Okay, that's amazing. Thank you so much. And I know really, really quick, you can always email me this other question, but I asked you before what Nithya's stance was on the Weddington Park historical designation. And I'd still like to know that. If you could, I know that she's not going to be in her district, but she still will vote on it with the overall city council. So it would be nice to know her position. Well,
I mean, to be completely honest with you, it's going to become in our district. So I mean, it's something we're gonna be learning more about.
Oh, so, how about that?
We didn't have a position, and we don't have a position as of now for for something that wasn't in our district. But it's part of the transition is going to go the other way. So we're going to be learning from CD2 because we're going to be having stuff in Studio City. So understood. Okay. Yeah, we're going to be learning. We're going to be learning about that. All right. And any idea when she would have a position? Weeks, months, days? I really can't say at this time, but it's definitely on our planning director's radar. She knows about this and some other projects in the area. What's the name of the planning director? Our planning director? Yeah. Our planning director is Michelle Majid. How do you spell the last name? Majid. Oh, terrific. So I could get in touch with her. You could, but I mean, feel free to reach out to me still. It's going to be the same difference in the end, I guess. But yeah, I mean, whichever. I would, if you send anything, you can send it to, you should just CC me if you send to her, or you just send it to me. So thanks so much.
Yeah, actually have two other hands raised on this issue, which we have to move forward. All right, right, Ren?
I'm done.
I've seen Bob's been very patient for a long time. You have to unmute, Bob.
I'm sorry. Mehmet, this is Bob Schiavelli. I'd like to first echo what Tess said. We're going to miss you and the whole gang over it too. For the many years I've been here, we've always been part of that district. So we will miss you. But I have probably a naive question. What happens to the neighborhood council? CD2 has a neighborhood council. How does that affect us, and how does that work?
As far as
I mean, do we dissolve? Do we dissolve ourselves?
No, you're fine. The neighborhood councils are their own entity, and sometimes they're split between council districts and sometimes they're not. And you all have had the fact of having just one council member for a while now, and obviously it's been CD4 for a while now, and you'll just be fully constituted in CD2. So it's going to be no real difference for you besides whom your council member is going to be. So yeah.
All right, I'll
Okay,
be anxious to see how that works
can we
out.
move this issue over to governmental affairs and kind of get back on our plan?
We have one more hand raised real quick. If you just,
All right.
David Wheatley.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Yeah, I'm a little confused on the agenda because I thought we were having general public comment where people just talk and then the committee doesn't say anything. But all of a sudden we were in a presentation by someone named Mamet. And then there was lots of conversation. I'm wondering which agenda item this is and at what point people get to comment on what we just heard. And I kind of don't see it here on the agenda. Could you clarify that and then invite us to comment, please?
Okay, Mamet's presentation was not a public comment. It was a briefing from effectively city staff. And I guess public comment on that would come after his comments. I think if you could keep it to the planning issues, Mamet went off into issues that are frankly governmental affairs and not part of our committee issues. So if you could save any comments more generally about, the redistricting and all of that, we really want to get on with our agenda at planning.
I understand that. Okay, I'm happy to limit them and hopefully I'll be successful. When Tess had asked whether Weddington Park was going to be designated historical, that's a significant part of land use. And he said it's going to become, and then he never said the last word. Is it going to become this horrific development? Is it going to become a designated landmark? It would be nice if he could finish that sentence for us so we can be better informed. And the rest of it, let's see. Yeah, I just appreciate the understanding that there are more people involved in this meeting than just the people on the committee. There are members of the public out here that need to know about these things, and sending an email to Colby may help the committee, but it doesn't help the rest of us. We can't be excluded from this. We got to be included in the process. And I'm asking you to please do more to make that happen. Thanks.
Oh, Ren, you gotta look back. When you were starting the meeting, I was working on some technical stuff over here. Did you do roll call attendance?
No.
Okay. Maybe
So we'll go back to that. I think that's also something that I shouldn't skip over. So committee members, Ren Blight, I'm here. Robert Sabelli is here. Tess Taylor.
Here.
Mark Stevenson.
Here.
Freda Berry with an E.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Ren. I'm here.
Brandon.
Here, and David, the answer to your question is they don't have a position right now. But he finished the sentence.
Yeah.
Okay. Roll call.
Okay, Ron Babini.
Here.
And Lee Jamison.
We got to do something about the development. It's getting crazy. We've got to stop this. Oh, I'm here, by the way.
Okay, thank you. That's all I need. Thank you. Okay, now, without further time, I'd like to turn the meeting over for Armin Garrett. He can pronounce his last name for us, with GA Engineering Incorporated. He's going to make a presentation on the 11003 project that's been proposed. And before we go too far into questions and so forth, I'd like him to make his presentation first. We can raise some immediate questions, but I would like to and have reserved the opportunity for us to call him back once we've done further research on this project, because I think some people are hearing about this project for the first time. Some of us have looked into it, but we haven't had time to really research it. So I'm hoping Armin will be able to come back once we have our questions sort of outlined and more in-depth understanding of his project, and we will go forward from there. So I'll turn it over to Armin.
Ren, may I ask, what is the purpose of our meeting tonight? Are we voting on something? Are we reviewing it?
We are not voting on anything here. We're just getting a presentation.
Okay, so a presentation only for informational purposes, correct?
Exactly.
Barbara,
Hello, you guys hear me?
think about dinner.
Hello? We hear you, Armin. There's no
Yes, Armin, please go ahead.
Good evening. My name is
Armin,
Garai.
I'm sorry. This is Mark Stevenson. I need to ask everybody to please mute themselves except for Armin. I can hear conversations.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Armin Garai. I'm with GA Engineering, and I'm here to present our project. It is a 31-unit condominium building. It is located on the corner of Vineland and Moore Park Street. I don't know if you guys see it. I'm sharing my screen. I don't know if you guys see it over there or not. It is a lot that is zone C2-1 VL. It is a little over 13,000 square feet. And currently it is where this property is located. It used to be an old gas station mechanic shop. To the north of us is the 4-story apartment building. And farther up the street on Vineland is all apartment residentials. We have some commercial on the across the street from us, and got a couple of gas stations right there. So it is on the corner of it's a fairly busy street over there, and it's surrounded by apartments on our end of the block. And let's go to my project. Let me find this. Sorry, yeah. Why this is? Let me find where I put it. Here we go. Okay. It is 31-unit apartment building. The entrance to the parking lot is going to be on the Moore Park Street, away from Vineland Street. And it is 31 units. It's going to be smaller apartments, units, condominiums. We will have 31 units. Out of these 31 units, 4 units will be set aside for very low income occupants over there. It's going to be sold or rented to low income, and the remaining units will be set for market rate units. We will have 2 levels of underground parking. So on grade will be on the first floor will be the units over there. So it's a 4-story building. So our building will be, all the units will be on grade, and the parking will be 2 levels of underground parking over there. We are using a state density bonus, and the density bonus will be used to increase our floor area ratio. So we will, right now for C2-1 1VL, the floor area ratio is 1.5 to 1. And what we're requesting is to get a density, a FAR increase from 2.5 to 2.025. And in lieu of that, we are providing 4 units to be set aside for very low income occupants. And That is the only incentive we're asking right now. And the building will be 22 one-bedrooms and 9 two-bedroom units. And out of the building, we haven't gone to city housing department yet, but my estimate is that we will have 3 units, 3 one-bedrooms, and 1 two-bedroom set aside for very low income. We have a rendering right now of the building. We have already submitted the plans to, I think, Mr. Blight. I don't know if I'm correct or not. And so it is available for you guys. So if you wanted to scan through it later on, and if you have any comments, we'll be glad to come back and take any questions in the future time.
Armin,
Yes,
I distributed the plans last Friday, I believe, to all the committee members.
Okay, so, but if they haven't had a chance,
they should have it.
Okay, so I mean, we've submitted this to city planning based on my experience, based on what we've seen from them in last year and a half, 2 years. Unfortunately, I don't think we expect them to get anywhere soon to our project. So I'm pretty sure we will have time to come back to you guys 1 or twice more. If you have any questions, any comments, any concerns, you can let us know, and we'd be glad to share it with the developers, with the owners, and we'll come back to you with any response that you have. So if you have any questions, I'll be glad to take any questions and see what any comments are.
Let me go ahead and start out just sort of a few comments here. One, where is the driveway going to be exactly? Is it going to be, you said on Moore Park, is it going to be at the west side of the project?
Well, I mean, unfortunately, when we are on a corner lot, I mean, there's only one. I mean, the DOT wants us to be as far away from intersection as possible. So we have put our driveway right on the west side of the our property on Moore Park Street, which is the farthest from Vineland Avenue, all the way in the back.
Okay. The second question, you mentioned something about ownership. Are these going to be rentals with the idea that you might convert them to condominiums?
Well, right now we've applied for a tract map, so that would be going through the process of subdivision for these. I think the owners right now are thinking about having these as for sale units. Based on what I've talked to them a few times, that we've gone back and forth on this, every time they seem like they're more than 85–90% sure that they want to continue and make this for sale rather than for rent.
Okay, so it is a condominium project then. Thank you.
Yes, it is. Yes, it
okay.
is.
This is Lee. I just have a comment. How would
Yes,
the
sir.
developer like to live in an apartment or in a congestion area versus a house? I'm sure they're in a house, but the rich developer, they have to build, apartments, and we suffer the consequence. Thank you. I made my comment.
This is
Is
Bob
that-
Schiavelli. I just have one question regarding EV charges. Will they be included?
The what charges? Yes.
Electric vehicle charging.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys still hear me or not, but yeah,
do.
per new code, 40% of all car parkings in the development have to be EV charged.
Thank you. One other question in terms of sustainability. Any plans for capturing gray water?
Right now, as we going there, but based on the latest the building and safety codes and everything else, they're making us do a lot of separation over there in preparation to gray water. As of today, well, this hasn't been really the entitled yet, but as of today, we haven't had too many projects that they're actually requiring us to do a gray water, like a storage tank, but they're making us have like separate plumbing. So if in the future they would have some kind of a gray water system in the city or something, they can hook up to it. But as of now, the plumbing plans haven't been done. But if there something comes up, we will have to abide by whatever the codes are at the time that we pull the permit. So if they require us to do a gray water, we will definitely do that.
Thank you. And I would recommend that. I think you answered most of my questions in your presentation, but just to underline it, for affordable housing, you mentioned very low. Is that literally very low, or is it?
Sorry, say that again. I'm sorry, I have to.
I want
wanna hear
just
that,
to get a full definition on the affordable.
It's incredible.
I'm sorry, who's speaking?
Hey, David, really, you need to put your mute on mic. Mic on mute.
Ahmed, are they very low income, as you pointed out, or is it moderate income, or?
No, it's going to be a very low income level.
Very low income, okay.
Very low income, yes, sir.
Got you. And I think that's all I had. It was just, one of them is architectural. I've seen several buildings in the area with the stucco and wood, and I never liked any of them. In other words, was anything else considered beside wood? Stone, some other treatment?
Well, I mean, look, if you guys have comments, and we'd be glad to take comments. I mean, these buildings haven't been built yet. I mean, these are the beginning stages. I mean, if you have comments, questions, remarks, we'd be glad to take it with the designers and architects and talk to them and see how nothing is built. It's there, it's on paper right now. If there is some comments, we'd be glad to look at all the different options and everything else and see what we can do. If we can make some changes, we'd be glad to make any changes. We want something that, I understand there is a lot of, I don't want to say resentment, but opposition to a lot of developments. So you're going to come on your neighborhood and everything else. But the truth is, I mean, you look at what's there right now. You saw what was there. I mean, there's a gas station or mechanic shop that's
it's an eyesore.
Vacated over there. It is not something within the neighborhood, in between the single family homes. If you're gonna have apartments or more congested living areas, it would be in where you have higher traffic, bigger streets and stuff. So this would be one of the places where it would be ideal to have more higher density units. So the fact is, the higher density you have in certain areas, it allows the other remaining areas to remain lower density. I mean, the people you're getting more and more and more people, and people need housing. Now, there's two ways to do that: spread it out over everywhere, or concentrate them in a few areas which is more that are able to absorb the higher density. And this way you can have lower densities in the areas. I mean, you look at some of the laws that has been passed by the governor, where they're going to change all the single family homes to the apartment buildings, split them and put 2 units on this unit. I mean, I don't agree with all of that stuff. I mean, but if it needs to be, you still have to provide housing. And to me, this is a place where it would be ideal to have that.
Actually, Tess, someone else has a hand up.
Okay, sorry, I'll raise my hand.
Fred?
Yes, dear.
Hi, Fred.
Oh, hi. 2 quick questions. On your shared screen, I didn't see the rendering of the building. I thought you mentioned you were going to show that. I don't know if you have it, but I'd love to see the rendering of the building. That's number 1. And 2 is, if these units are going to be for sale, then how does the density bonus work? Does that mean you have a lower asking price to buy them if they're not rented? I'm a little confused about that.
Well,
so anyway, those are my 2 questions.
Well, I mean, I have this, do you guys see my screen or not? I'm sorry, I can't.
We see
the screen.
A photograph of the old gas station. That's it.
I mean, it's still like fenced in, and it's not the new.
You guys still see the gas station, or you see the plans?
See the gas station.
Yeah, all I see is the old place with the old building there. I don't see anything else. I see your screen, but it's just the Google Maps.
How about now?
Just wanted to see if we could see the rendering of the building.
How about now?
Nope, it has not changed.
Oh
If
my
I
God.
can suggest
I
something.
don't, look, I'm not the most computer savvy guy. I see it over here on my screen and I put share screen and I minimize the Google. So I have no idea what it is. But I mean, if you guys have emails and stuff, I'd be glad to share whatever we have with them. I mean, I got it on my screen.
We Ren sent it out to everybody on the committee on it.
Okay, but as far as the question as how density bonus and affordable housing works with
Units that for sale instead of being rented.
Yeah, when you do affordable housing with the for sale projects, what happens is the same way that they have the units like you have market rate units and the affordable units for rental, you have the same type of setup for sale units. So basically what would say, let's say 2-bedroom apartment will go for $500,000, 400, 300,000, whatever it is at the market rate. Then they look at a certain median income, and housing department has a maximum amount that the person can pay for those units. And what happens is once they purchase it at the affordable rates, one thing that will go is for sure that there's going to be a covenant agreement. If they subsequently sell the units, they cannot just sell it at the market rate unit to somebody else. So that somebody with a low income cannot come over there and purchase this at the low income, low amount, and turn around and sell it for a gain to somebody that's not low income. So if they subsequently sell it in the future, they would have to find a buyer that would be low income and qualified, and they have to get approval by city housing department in order to make the transfer.
I see. Okay, I would think with a building like this, the market rate for these units would probably be close to $1 million. So
I don't
to get
think
someone
so.
or even to get someone to an affordable unit, you're gonna have to sell it for like $100,000. You know, how does that make sense?
Look, there is. I don't know. I mean, I'm not.
That's, if I can interrupt, that's really not our mission here. So
yeah, I mean, I'm not here to.
Well, my point is that there's going to be no affordable units. These are luxury units. How can that be affordable if you sell them?
Mr. Developer, can I make a suggestion? Can I suggest, instead of that idea, like maybe 4 duplexes, 1 story, or maybe 3 rows, people would actually like that. And I think the community would love it. And it would be affordable and it would be nice. It would be very area friendly to the people. 1 story, like on Hollywood Way, a little bit north in the city of Burbank, they have 4 duplexes, 1 story, maybe grass on the front. That's what we would like to see. Thank you.
Sure.
Oh, and I'd also like to get a point of order. I'd like to please ask everyone the committee members and attendees especially committee members, to respect the order. People raise hands and then I see who calls first and I go in that order. So please don't step ahead. Tess. Go ahead, Tess.
Thank you. I will try to be orderly.
Tess, you were. It was just someone else. You were. It wasn't you.
Okay. So yes, I have many, many questions. Thank you for being here, Armin. I would take issue, however, with your statement, the density has to be put, might as well be here, that for people who live in the area, that's a little bit disconcerting. And by the way, there are plenty of rentals within 500 feet of that particular site. I went there to take photographs today. There are at least 10 rental units within eyesight of the corner of Moore Park and Vineland. So, but I do have questions about the documents that are available. We only got the rendering. Now I went to the LA City Planning website and I want to know how far along in this process are you, Armin? Because I don't see a staff report available yet. There are a lot of different reports that I see referred to but aren't available online. So at what point in the process with this project are you, please?
Well, I mean, we've applied and we're waiting for them to get back to us. They have not gotten back to us. I mean, look, it's one of what they do is city planning nowadays is not something that I can't help you with. I mean, you know as much as I do, or I know as much as you do. I mean, we put out stuff, they don't respond to us.
Okay.
I know they're doing something, but a lot of time you're just waiting and waiting and waiting.
Well,
When
then-
does it go? When will it go online? A lot of times, unfortunately, when it goes online is after the hearing has been taken place, and then at that point they put some documents like the plans and everything else there.
Okay,
Now,
well,
like what document in particular are you looking for? So maybe I can help you with.
well, couple things. I mean, that may not be your fault, that's city planning, but documents have to be available prior to a public hearing. So two specific things. Have any public hearing dates been set? If so, what are the dates? And number two, has a staff report been issued yet? There's usually a pre-meeting between the applicant and the city planning. Has a staff report been written and it's not online? Has that been done yet?
Both answers are no. I
Okay.
don't have a date and I don't have a staff report.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
We have Ron Babini.
You may have answered this, but I didn't recall hearing it. What are the number of parking spaces per bedroom?
We have, let me see, 1840. We have 48 parking spaces and 40 bedrooms.
So you have less than 1.5 per bedroom,
Yes, sir.
but
Well,
it's more than one per bedroom.
Yes, it is. I mean, per the ordinances that we work with, or they're requiring, they require 36 parking spaces, but we're providing 48. So we're providing 12 more than what the minimum parking requirements for our project. So 33% more than what we would, the minimum required parking spaces, what we're providing.
All right, thank you.
Sure.
And the looks like the last question from the committee is from Mark.
Hi, it's yeah. So Armin, thank you so much for being with us this evening and sharing your vision and something for us all to consider. It is a blight of a corner. No pun intended on Ren's name. Yes, this is something that we've all gone through that's been on the committee, and sometimes people, we don't necessarily are overjoyed with development projects, but we do appreciate what you've brought forward thus far, and I appreciate Tessa's questions and what Ron just brought up. My question, and you may have covered this, and I'm sorry, is about, has an environmental report been done?
What we've done is we do what they call an E for environmental assessment. This doesn't trigger a EIR.
Okay.
It's not to a level of EIR. It is, we do a environmental assessment, which is a negative mitigated and mitigated M&D. I don't know that. So basically what they do is they do M&D. So city would create a environmental study and reports, and in that they would have some sort of a requirements of, to minimize the negative effect that it would have on the environment.
Right.
This the project does not trigger a traffic study, so we were not required to do like a full-fledged traffic study, because the number of the cars and the units is not that much as much as the trigger point for that. But DOT does get involved in it. We've done a noise. We had a environmental consultant. They do like a noise and the traffic, like what they do is a traffic during construction type thing, and air quality and noise study for us. So try to give us some recommendations to reduce the effect of noise, and it's basically how to reduce the effect during the construction and after that. But as far as the full environmental, we were not required for that because there wasn't any triggering point for us to do that.
Right.
But if they require us to do that, we'd be glad to do whatever we need to do.
Right. The thing is we definitely want to protect the neighbors that are in that area. We've had other developments that have impeded in the from a noise factor, dust factor, is really inconvenienced a number of folks. My big concern for that particular area is definitely traffic. There is a project that's not too far from there, and I had raised a concern, and indeed it is disconcerting, the traffic going in and out of that particular complex. It only adds more fuel to the fire of traffic that is on Moore Park. But it will be interesting to see, even though you're saying a traffic study doesn't have to be done, it's just, it is, and again, I'm not saying I'm against your development. I'm just stating my big concern is protecting the neighbors, but also it is concerns of traffic flow in the impeding into not only Moore Park, but also I guess it is Lancashire. So there you go. That's my 2 cents at this juncture. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. And Fred, I see your hand up raised. We have to get to stakeholders too. So if you keep it short, I don't want to.
Yeah, this is very, very fast. Very fast, very fast. Do you know the price range for the very low income sales, not to rent, but if you were to put these up for sale, can you give me a price range that they would have to fall in? Thank you.
I've only had one project where we had for sale, and that was like 15 years ago. So I haven't had anything in that time. What I can do is reach out to the housing department where they oversee that and try to get some kind of a prices for you guys on that. So I can share it at the next meeting because I'll come over.
Okay, that'd be amazing. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Yeah, we're going to move over to the stakeholders. I see Joanne's been waiting a long, long time. Hi, Joanne.
Hi, yes, thank you. I actually had my hand up for Mehmet because I had a comment and question for him. So like the other man, I think Mr. Wheatley said, if you guys could just be really more mindful about including the public in these conversations, it'd be greatly appreciated. That being said, about this project, I'm actually going to agree with Lee Jameson, who, you know, is saying like you guys should be more kind of like trying to be more like Burbank, because I know now that you're in, my condolences that you guys are in CD2 at this point. It's kind of sad because, you know, it'll be like in no time flat, you will be this community will be a high density sports bar district if he has his way. So I think it's like you guys are going to have to hopefully stand up and kind of to fight for the community. Yes, we need housing, but like Lee said, it could be in a little bit more community minded. Like this it's going to bring a lot of traffic. And it's a shame that they don't need a traffic study. It should trigger a traffic study because one project, okay, but when you have all these, like Tess said, you know, 10 surrounding businesses, 10 surrounding projects, you know, that's a lot of traffic. And, but you guys are being sucked into this, you know, CD2 overdevelopment, you know, every sports bar, you know, all this nonsense. You're going to lose, it's going to lose the community flavor. And I would like to see, and it has nothing necessarily to do with, you know, income level, whatever. I have no problem. Like I think it's great if they have very low income apartments, housing available, you know, so to give everyone a chance to live in Toluca Lake. But you don't want to lose the feel and flavor of of this community, you know. So I would try to be more, you know, minded of how is Burbank doing their planning and use. And please don't use CD2, even though that you unfortunately, you know, it's sucked into it. Please don't use North Hollywood or NoHo Arts District as a guideline for how Toluca Lake should be doing their planning. Thank you.
Thanks, Joanne. And next up, we have Sean. Hi, Sean.
Hey, hello, everyone. Thank you for taking the call and thank you for taking the time to meet with us tonight. I did have one question. I live really close to the area, and my concern is with the eastbound traffic on Vineland to the northbound, eastbound traffic on Moore Park to the northbound traffic on to Vineland. There is between the street that's just west of Vineland and the distance from Vineland to that street, it's very short distance. And I know you plan on putting the entrance on the the Moore Park entrance, and people make left-hand turns there, and there's quite a bit of traffic. Are you going to limit or perhaps negate the possibility of turning left into the building from Moore Park so that you don't, because people will stall the traffic trying to turn left. And there's a lot of people that are trying to get on the freeway to the northbound 170 or the eastbound 134. So I'm not sure if you're going to prevent left-hand turns into the structure or you're going to allow it. Thank you.
Typically on buildings that are so close to intersection, they definitely, DOT requires us to put no left turn signs, and they might have us put some kind of a divider with make it harder, you know, and when you kind of put like a little angle right there at the driveway, so it won't be as easy to make a left turn. I mean, I don't want to say I will be there forever to police these things, but I mean, we don't want to have a left turn onto Moore Park from the apartment building. So most probably we would have a one-way entrance going to make a right turn on Moore Park only. I don't see us, I mean, it doesn't make sense for us to do that. That's not good practice. Unfortunately, I mean, I don't see any way of not doing this thing because Vineland, it is the higher density street. So typically DOT makes us go to the one that's a little lower down, and Vineland is a higher grade of street than Moore Park. Other than that, it would have been better for us to have a driveway on Vineland.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Okay, next I see David Wheatley.
Yes.
Thank you very much. I'm concerned about the integrity of this committee, and I've been coming to your meetings for a long time. It's supposed to be quasi-judicial. That means we get to the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And this committee only gets to part of the truth. I think that's partly due to the chairs has a bias in favor of developers, and he tends to exclude the public. He failed to take the role at the beginning. Also, the public is, after the presentation, the public's supposed to go next. His bias in favor of committee members and developers made him exclude the public until later. This is not right. Bob Scabelli, I don't know if he's still on the committee. I thought he wasn't. Maybe he's just not the chair. But when he talks about something being an eyesore, he should not be commenting until he hears all the evidence. And he is. That means he is partial to developers. This impartiality is key to our democratic process, and I'm not seeing enough of it. I think this warrants an ethics investigation into the committee members to find out why people are partial and not fulfilling their quasi-judicial role to the benefit of the community. Also, I'm finding that the committee is more interested in asking questions than in scrutinizing the answers. You guys seem willing to accept any answer that the applicant comes up with. What happened to the critical thinking classes we were supposed to take in high school? We could use them about now. This applicant, while sincere, he's got his own self-interest. Just about everything he says is along those lines, and he's spinning things and leaving things out that the public and the committee members should be asking about and demanding answers, full answers, the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Tess, good job on asking good questions. Fred should be allowed to speak as long as he wants. He shouldn't have to be rushing through maybe he's feeling the partiality coming from the chair to get on with it. Well, getting on with it does not get to the whole truth and then nothing but the truth. I'd really appreciate it if we can get the ethics up higher. Thanks.
Thanks, David. Next, I see Jonathan.
Am I unmuted?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I'm a stakeholder. Is Armin still here? I hope he is.
I'm here.
Okay, I hope you'll pick up a pencil. In just a moment, I'm going to tell you the name of an EPA test that ought be conducted among a lot of other soil samples that you'll do there, because there's been a gas station or a full, it's called a full service automotive place. And of course, you have to declare that to the city. And sometimes it isn't done. Can I proceed?
Go ahead. Someone didn't unmute themselves. Go ahead.
All right. In any case, Armin, in just a moment, I'll tell you the name of this test that ought to be conducted. And I do expect that you'll put it on the application that there was a full service auto body or auto service business that was there on the lot before in the history of it. It's called the EPA method 8260, which is checking for, it's called vapor intrusion that could affect, it has to do with using chlorinated solvents that are almost 100% used in auto repair installations. So with that in your notes, I also wanted to say to you that I agree with you that it's a huge improvement over what's sitting on that lot right now and has been there for, it's just been a mess. It's been an awful looking thing. I took the time to study the paperwork you obviously gave to the neighborhood council because it was posted on the meeting notes. And my interest was understanding where the egress and the entrance for the garage was. And when I studied it, it appeared that it was on the north side of the building and not on Vineland. And by the way, it's Vineland and not Lancashire. One of the board members mistook it to be on Lancashire. This is on Vineland and Moore Park. I don't understand where, well, if it's on the north side, then I understand where the garage is, the egress and the entrance. But if it isn't, then that really is a big deal about how people are getting in and out of there. It's a very busy intersection. And I agree with Armin that we need housing, and the housing, to put density housing on such busy intersections as that is really a dream come true in terms of how you're going to deal with the problem, which is housing. We need housing. Of course, the price of the housing, that's a capitalist system and we're in it, but that's not what we're here to do in this. This is about that lot, its history and its future in terms of how it fits into the community. Armin, you did hear that green space matters. You may not be able to put grass in there, but certainly street trees is a big deal. They're going to be looking for that. So put some effort into the street trees, but it looks to me like a vast improvement over what's been on that lot for a long time as a layperson, as a person who's a stakeholder. Thank you very much.
May I respond to the question? Actually, we do have a phase 1 and phase 2 environmental report performed for this project before they purchase it. And it was submitted as part of the environmental documents to the city. That is basically for all the contamination, the possible contamination due to the use of the lots in this history. So that they did that was a requirement. That was a requirement for when you submit for a track map. Is one of the items that we have to do is provide that, and it gives us the history. And we did the study. I mean, I didn't do the study, but there was a study done, and it was submitted to the city planning. When we submitted the package. Also, as far as the driveway does go on Moore Park Street, on the west side of the property on Moore Park Street. It is not on Vineland. And the entrance to the building, it is on Vineland, but the pedestrian entrance is on Vineland, but the auto entrance is on Moore Park. On our property is on the northwest corner of the Moore Park and Vineland, and we are entering the parking from Moore Park, not on Vineland.
Rent, I don't see any other hands raised. just to let you know.
Okay, yeah, just again, to repeat myself, we're going to ask Armin to come back after we've had a chance to really look at some of these documents and become more familiar with it. And for better or worse, he's going to have to wait for planning to review his documents, and that'll give us time to review this and to perhaps talk to more people in the community who live right around there to see what their reaction is. One last question, Armin. Are you going to have a chance, or would you have a chance to do some work on the sidewalks going around the project? And if so, can we get some street trees planted? It usually softens the look of a project, and it really improves the community in terms of, heat gain and a whole bunch of things. Would you be able to plant trees there along the sidewalk?
Well, typically for projects, when we do that, especially when there is like the track maps or subdivisions involved, that it does go to urban forestry and they give us the requirements for it. If I'm not mistaken, they ask us to do the 1 tree for every 35 feet of the frontage. But being that is close to intersection, I don't know how that affects it, but we'd be glad to put in as many trees as what is safe and what is the city requires to do. We don't have any problem with doing that.
Good, thank you.
Oh, Ren, I do see 3 hands raised by committee members, 2 hands raised by the committee members. Just want to let you know.
Okay.
We'd like to do.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'll take Lee. I saw your hand up first. Lee, please unmute yourself.
Okay, can you hear me now?
We hear you.
Yeah, I would like them to do what they said, do a survey with all the neighbors in the community, because I bet you anything, they're going to agree with me about 1-story duplexes, maybe 4 in a row with grass in front. Nobody wants to live the New York way in a condensed apartment where you're living like rats packed in amongst each other. It's just not right. It breeds crime, problems, congestion, traffic. We don't want it, and we're getting it shoved down our throat. And I speak for the community. Thank you.
Thanks, Lee. And I see Tess.
Okay. Well, I have many questions, but probably most of them will be more relevant for when we have more information. But when hearings are posted, how can this committee be notified? Because most of us don't live within 500 feet. And I wouldn't, Armin, can you notify this committee when hearings are scheduled?
When we submit the city with the mailing labels for the 500-foot radius, neighborhood councils are included in there. So you definitely will get some kind of notification from them.
Okay, so you say neighborhood councils, meaning individuals or all of us, or rent?
Well,
who gets those?
I mean, look, the people within 500 feet are included. Right. Neighborhood councils are included, but neighborhood councils change. Okay, I mean, you are a member today, but there's no guarantee you're going to be there 2-3 months from now, 4 months from now, 5 months from now, or somebody else doesn't come.
Okay,
so
well, I will likely get an email. I get emails frequently from in situations like this.
Okay, well, I would want to make sure that this entire committee is notified. And can you confirm that we will be notified at least via email, Armin, please?
Well, look, I like to promise that I will do that, but I mean, if we find it, and you're putting me on the tough spot over here where I would become the point person for you guys, and I don't want to take that obligation on myself. I mean, we'd be glad to your committee is notified. I mean, if I had the mailing if I had the mailing list for you guys and the emails for every individual person, I could make a mass email on it. But I mean, your committee, your committee chair has everybody's mail. If you guys do get committed, if you like to, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to say yes or no, and I don't want to just say no. But I mean, I don't even have everybody's contact person. If you have, I don't want to answer. I don't want to send out respond to 20 different emails. Oh, you forgot me, or you forgot that such and such person. But if you had one email with everybody is included, and you send me something, I'd be glad to send one email to everybody in there. But I don't want to send a whole bunch of individual emails.
Okay, I hopefully, well, Colby, you get those hearing notifications?
If they are sent to me, yes, I get them.
Okay, well, if you could make sure we all get them, that would be great for those
Yes,
of
I'll
us
pass
who
them on
don't.
to Ren,
Okay.
and he'll pass them on.
And then a technical question about zoning, Armin. Won't this require a zoning change from commercial use to residential?
The residential is allowed under commercial use.
Is
In the
it?
commercial zones, it is residential use is.
So there
allowed.
will be no zoning change required for this project?
No, there is no zone change requirements for this project.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
And Ren, last up, I see Brandon's hand raised.
I go back and forth. Sure. I was just gonna say, because you mentioned, Colby, that you get the notifications. I think that's.
I have in the past. I can't guarantee I get everything.
That's fine. But
I can't control what I receive.
You know, there looks like there's a planner that's assigned to the case numbers, so maybe someone can contact the staff. It doesn't sound like the applicant or understands the process of disseminating between all the various groups within Los Angeles. So I would advise that, you know, Tess maybe, or Ren or whoever, I don't know, contact the planner that is assigned. And then the last, Tess said something else that I thought.
Good idea. Thank you, Brandon. I will.
What was your last thing that you said? I had
The zoning change. I asked.
Oh, yeah, go to the zoning code for Armin, what is the zone number? I mean, you can go on to Zemus, you can find out what the zone is, go into the municipal code, and it has permitted uses.
Okay.
Or it has conditional uses, but I'm imagining it's just a permitted use. It doesn't, it is allowed. It's a catch-all. The primary use is probably for commercial, but it's silly that it's named this way, but it's yeah, residential would probably be allowed.
Yes, I thank you, Brandon. Thank you for that reminder. It was a quick question.
Yeah,
there is one
on the property is zoning on the property is C2-1VL-R10. So you can look that up and see that residential is allowed under that. And planners have talked, theoretically for a long time about no longer allowing lesser uses under what are considered higher level zoning. But at this point, the city's zoning code allows, what they call lesser uses under higher levels of zoning. So it can be problematic in community planning and development.
There is one more hand raised, but I don't know if we can keep going back and forth between stakeholders. It's your meeting. I just want to tell you what's going on.
Yeah, I wanted to, I want everybody to have a chance to ask their questions and get started on this. So yeah, Joanne.
Thank you. I'm sorry. I know that not to do it twice, but I have to say, I find it egregious that a developer would dare tell the neighborhood committee that they are seeking permission or help from to say, no, if I can think of it, or if I want to, or if you have the right list that I would send it to you. No, I mean, I know this is a relatively new board. I am asking you to please have the backbone and strength to stand up to developers like that. No wonder, what is he hiding? Like the other guy said, it's their self-interest. That is so egregious. I am so offended. Not at you, but at him. And I'm just asking you, please have the strength to stand up to him and say, no, we want to know when there's hearings on this building in our community that we are the neighborhood council for, and you demand it, please, because that is ridiculous. Thank you.
May I make a comment in response? There will be a posting on the property before the project, so it
Not
will.
good enough. They asked for a list. They asked,
Well,
Tess
but
made it very clear, and you as a developer should be more than happy to give them what they asked for, since this is the board that is overseeing your project. Your attitude is ridiculous. I hope they
Can we have
vote
a
you
point
out
of
because
order?
you shouldn't be there.
We shouldn't
Thank
be,
you.
this is not decorum.
Yeah, let's.
Hey, Red, I don't see any other hands raised.
Okay, let's go ahead and move on. Thank you, Marvin, for being with us, and I hope this project develops the way that it pleases everybody, both your investors, developers, the city, and of course the community, which we're trying to get as much information out as we can and as quickly as we can. So we will make an effort. I can't promise that everybody who thinks they ought to have been noticed on this will get noticed, but we'll make an effort at least and try. Moving back to the agenda, any committee member news or announcements?
Yeah, I have a couple of announcements, and Ren, on the point of getting information out to the community and especially to the committee, I will ask again for you to please provide links in your agendas to the city planning site and to the documents. I was happy to see the case numbers, which I've been asking for, but a simple link to the city planning site would have been nice. I had to go hunting for all of the associated documents for this particular project, and many members of the public would not know where to look. And even if they did know, wouldn't necessarily have time. So by providing that link, you're saving people a lot of time, and you're providing what information to the public that it needs to know. So that is really, really important. And I would also like to announce that a young lady who was living in her car on my street has secured permanent housing, which is really, really good in the area. So that's a step in the right direction. And I'll have more things later. Thank you.
Okay. Let's go back, if we may, to the minutes.
Wait, and hold on, Tess. Brandon had his hand raised regarding this. Brandon?
My thoughts were echoing Tess. I think we need to have, I've heard, for example, David Wheatley bring up similar things where we're not running, well, the meeting's not being run clearly. I was personally confused on the update from Mehmet versus public comment. We're going back and forth. We need to have the plan set and all documents that we talk about in the meetings uploaded onto the website. The plan set was available before the Brown Act deadline, and it wasn't posted on the website. I just think the committee needs to do better, and it's not good. Just a lot of attention to detail needs to be done.
Okay.
And Ren, could you please explain why you're not able to provide links to the documents as I've requested? Do you need help with that? Do you know how to create a link?
I tried to get somebody to help me, and she sent back a whole outline of things. Ren will provide, and frankly, I'm really busy myself on a whole bunch of things. And I don't have time to be doing a lot of research and background check. I've talked to some people about, how to make this work better, and it's not working better, evidently, because anyway, I'll do the best I can, and if people want to step up and say they will do the research and go through and do the background information and so forth, I would greatly appreciate it.
Well,
So anyway.
Ren, if you could please give me a call. You have mentioned several times that you will. You have my phone number and I do not have yours. I have emailed you my phone number and I will email it again and we will discuss this. And I went to great lengths to create a very comprehensive set of meeting minutes for you. And the information that you were asked to provide was not information that I had. And if you're too busy to chair the committee or to help with the meeting minutes, which are your responsibility, even though I volunteered to help with them, then perhaps you shouldn't be chair of this committee if you're that.
Well, Tess, let's discuss this offline. Let's go on with our meeting.
Will you please call me then, Ren? Because I'm waiting for your call and I have not.
All right, I will call you. I will call you. Yes. Okay.
Thank you.
All
Okay,
right.
next, I see Fred had his hand raised, then we'll go to Mark.
Hey, I'm just curious, Ren, why does Colby keep running these meetings? Is he going to do it all year? Does Colby, do you do this to other committees too, or is this the only one? And just
No,
wondering
Ren needs
why-
technical help. He's not he asked for help with Zoom. I'm not part of this meeting. I'm just facilitating the meeting because he's not comfortable running Zoom.
Well, you are
not
kind of running
doing
it a
this,
little bit, actually.
I'm
And
sorry,
are you
what?
gonna it seemed like you're running it a little bit. Is this gonna be forever?
I'm just trying to help
Why
out. During the
not?
pandemic, we are stuck with Zoom and Ren isn't comfortable running Zoom. I would
I
prefer
see.
not to be here right now. I'm just, if it weren't for me, we might not even have a meeting.
And do you do this for other committees too?
I
or
do
just
not
this
because
one?
other people don't need help with Zoom.
Understood. So you're gonna be doing this forever on Zoom?
I talked with Ren today and I prefer not to, and we're gonna get together and try to get him proficient in Zoom so I don't have to be here.
Right. Because that's another thing that he was not capable of being chair of the committee. If he can't do this, he needs you to
He's
do
a technical,
it.
he's an intelligent man.
come
He's just
on,
not he's not comfortable with Zoom yet.
Okay. All right. Just want to be on the record. Thank you.
Okay, minutes.
And Mark had something to say.
Sure.
Boy, do I have some stuff to say, but I'm holding my tongue. Guys, y'all need to back down quick. So Fred, I understand, but Colby, thank you for doing a favor for Ren. I appreciate you being here, and no, I haven't seen you run all these meetings, et cetera, et cetera. Ren, I do want to point out, and I appreciate you checking up and connecting. Please connect with Tess, because I do remember, and I will back Tess up on that she has reached out and said, hey, I'd love to help you. And so, yeah, please take her up on her offer, because she's been gracious enough to want to help. And I do appreciate Tess wanting to pitch in, because she's doing a yeoman's job. Ren, keep on hanging in there. I know you're doing your best. Just ask for help as you can, because people want to help. And, Robert has been a great asset for the committee as well over, the past couple of years. So anyway, just hang in there. And Tess, thank you. And yay for getting a homeless person housing. Yay.
Thank you, Mark.
Okay. Thank you, Mark. Back to the minutes. We have three sets of minutes that are backed up, and then the new one for October 11th. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes for, well, we have a motion A, approve the minutes for the Plum Committee meeting of June 14th. Do I have a first?
Bob.
Bob? Do I have a second? Thank you, Lee. We'll go to a vote. Robert?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Brandon?
No. We weren't properly noticed on this. They're not in the agenda packet.
Okay. Tess?
No.
Ron
Yes.
and Fred
No.
and Lee. Lee,
Unmute yourself.
Lee seconded the motion, Ren.
I know, but he has to vote as well.
I'm asking him to unmute. There he goes.
Okay, can you hear me?
We hear you.
Yes.
Okay. You know, I forgot about the fact that we didn't get all the information. So can I withdraw that? Yes? Or is that doable?
You can abstain or vote no.
I'm going to vote no then.
All right.
I forgot about that. Thank you.
And so I vote yes. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 yeses. 1, 2, 3, 4 no's. So we are. And Colby, you're not on the committee any longer, so I guess.
I'm not on the committee, no.
Even though at the time the minutes were created, you were on the committee.
I don't think that means I can vote, though. No.
Right, I think not. So.
He cannot vote, Ren. So I
Yeah,
got a
no,
question.
I don't think so either. So.
Yeah, I've got a question. I want to ask Brandon a question, Ren, just real quick.
Okay.
Brandon, please share the insights so we do not travel down this road again, because we've got to approve minutes by at least the next meeting, please, Lord Jesus. So Brandon, please share what we've got to do.
Well, I'm going through like, there's one thing for like a notice of like notifying the committee members, which is not the same as like a Brown Act notification. So if we go onto the website, you have to go onto the meeting documents from a prior meeting to find June and August. It's not properly organized. It's not properly noticed. It needs to be.
Brandon, it sounds like I need to talk to you offline, maybe you and Tess together. So if I may, I will go ahead and move on with this. Do you have the feelings about the other minutes as well?
I'm fine with motion C. I do have some amendments that I would like to make, but motion C, I am good to vote on.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion.
So we'll hold motion A and B for further input and conversation and correction of those minutes. Motion C is then before us. The GTLNC Plum Committee minutes for September 13th. Do I have a first?
Yeah, I'll make the motion.
Okay. And a second?
But in my motion, we'll just do this if I may.
Yes.
And this is more of a okay. So the one of the council files in 7.1 for the condo project that we just talked about is incorrect. I can provide the correct number
okay.
to you. I don't think people will object to getting a correct
Oh,
number.
yeah, corrections to the minutes are part of the conversation. Yeah.
Great. And then at the end of 7.4, the presentation on the.
I'm sorry. Ren, don't you need a first and a second, and then we do the discussion like what Brandon's discussing right now?
I thought I would just, I'm making a motion to approve the minutes, but in my motion, I have amendments. So then if someone wants a second with my amendments, then we can proceed. I don't know.
Can we just get the first? I mean, Ren, it's your meeting, but just I don't know, it's up to you. It's up to you, Ren.
I was going to say, I'll second the motion and then Brandon can then.
Yeah, okay, thank you, Mark, and we'll go forward. Yeah, Brandon, you were making corrections, so if you'd go forward, thank you.
Okay, so 7.4 at the very end, right above the 7.5 about other, it says, it was later determined by our Dunn representative that this constituted a subcommittee and was not allowed in our bylaws. That didn't occur during the meeting. That happened after, so it shouldn't be in the minutes per se. It should have
Do
been.
you want that taken out?
That's an announcement for this meeting, in my view. But and just moving forward, like we should have notes for what was said during public comment. We should have notes on what was said during committee members' news and announcements, but we've gone back and forth on all these. But so those are my, I'll concede, Mark. I'll move forward. Anyway, those are my comments.
Okay, so you're going to give me the correct council file number, and I'll put that in minutes for 7.1, 7.4. The comment it was later determined will be taken out. I think that's appropriate. I think you're absolutely right. That came after. Thank
you.
The notes on the public comment, I think it's not recommended, put it that way, because you pull Magilla with people about what they said or didn't say. It's recorded, but unless we quote people, verbatim, everything they said and only what they said, the minutes are have the
I get your point.
Be coming up, and there's no reason to put stuff into the, that much into the minutes when the the whole thing has been recorded, and you can go back to the recording and see exactly what somebody said if you really are that concerned about it. So I'm recommending we not put in notes about what people said in the public comment, except perhaps maybe what issue they talked about. But beyond that, I think we're creating problems by putting a lot of words into people's mouths is what they'll claim later. I've seen it. I've seen it many times, and it's frankly a big waste of our time. So that's my take on that part of it.
And Ren, we have just, I don't know if you want to, we have, well, Mark, I saw you, but I saw Catherine's had her hand raised a long time.
Okay.
Okay, Catherine.
Hi, Catherine. I don't know if you want to talk now or later.
Sure. I wanted to jump in, and I know this is a long-standing debate about minutes, and I know that there have been issues with the way this committee has functioned, as well as some other issues across GTLNC and the way that things work. And I appreciate the concern. I share several of them, but I do want to remind everyone, and I know it's been said already on the call, but we are all volunteers, and we are dedicating our free time to this, and we're not going to be perfect. And as frustrating as that may be, we are trying, and give us a little bit of space and a little bit of grace, and come to these conversations with constructive proposals. And I do appreciate that some of the past proposals there have been constructive proposals that haven't been effectively implemented. But, I think speaking from a place of frustration and anger isn't going to solve the problem. It's just going to focus on the problem rather than assist us in identifying solutions. So let's move forward, not focusing on blame and not focusing on the problem, but on how we can do better in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine.
Thank you. Okay, we'll
And-
go to a vote then.
Sorry, Mark wanted to, he's been, sorry.
So I just wanted to comment very quickly that Ren, we received a document that backed up what you just said. So absolutely, we put ourselves in a vulnerable position by commenting on comments, adding their comments. It's not good. Anyway, I seconded Brandon's motion. And so I have no objection with what Brandon just brought forward for corrections. Just wanted to make it clear.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we will proceed to a vote. Robert,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Brandon,
Yes.
Ron,
Yes.
Fred,
Yes.
Tess.
No.
Okay, and Lee.
Negative.
Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 yes and 2 no. The minutes pass. Okay, motion D, approve the GTLNC October 11th, 2021 Plum Committee minutes. Full text of the minutes can be found at HTT, et cetera. And they were sent out to the committee with the agenda middle of last week. Do I have a first?
Bob.
Bob? Do I have a second?
Ron.
Ron, okay. And although the vote and so forth, the doesn't show up on the agenda that I sent out, I corrected it afterwards. So I can take I'll take the roll and include that in the minutes. Any comments? If not, we will proceed to the vote. Robert?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Brandon?
This is this is motion D. I was making
D as in dog.
No one corrected me, but I was making amendments to October's minutes. And I was mistaken. Wow, what a mess.
Okay.
But
okay. So yeah. Okay, I get it. Yeah, the CF
that's a silly
and the 7.4. Okay, so
I'm a
corrections to
D, yes.
motion C and moving it to motion D. Is that right?
I want.
Yes, what Brandon said, which you interpreted for C, is moves over to D. Correct, Brandon?
Well, yeah, I was making, if people were following along, I was making amendments to October 11th's minutes, which was motion D, not motion C. So my mistake, I apologize. I don't know how to proceed. I'm obviously a yes for motion D. I would like to do the same for C as with A and B. That's my personal thought.
Okay. Good. Okay. Ron?
Sorry, I was out for a moment. Is it a yes? I'm a yes on the minute and a yes on a second. Let's get on with this meeting.
Okay. Fred?
No.
Okay. Fred is no. Tess?
This is motion D, the October minutes.
Yes, motion D.
No, and I'm just terribly confused about all of the minutes, but we'll get back to that later. Thank you.
Okay, when we talk, I'll get to the minutes as well. Lee? No? Okay. So this one we've got, and I vote yes. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got 5 yeses and 3 nos. So that passes as well. Okay. So moving down to update on current projects, the Cahuenga Addison lot, the Pocket Park, the beautification partners, Greater Toluca, or the Toluca Lake Beautification Partners has taken what am I looking for? They've taken over the role of the church in fronting the project. Mark, you want to help me on this? What exactly has happened? Are you familiar with all that?
Yeah, it's very simple. The church handed it off to the beautification. They said that they would take it on. They voted for it, and there you go. It makes it it's much cleaner. I remember Tess had made a comment a few months back, and I ruminated more on it. I was like, it would be good to have beautification involved. And so, especially when it comes to expenses, because the church was not getting any guarantees that if there were expenses that suddenly we wouldn't be saddled with those. And I was like, well, the church trying to do the Greater Toluca Lake Neighborhood Council a favor. So that's what it boiled down to. So anyway, we're very grateful for the beautification, taking it over, and please, one day, could we just get this done?
Yeah, before I move on. Okay, so that's, moving forward. Riverside Drive streetscape. By the way, Joanne Rivas, you talked about you didn't want our community to go the way of North Hollywood. You should probably check out the Riverside Drive streetscape plan. You still have a chance to, I think, vote on, kind of your preferences of how you see the Toluca Lake streetscape coming together. It's a whole process we're going through. And ideally, we will identify some things that we all want to see happen to keep our village more like a village and not copy other parts of the city that have gone in various other directions that we don't like. So I would recommend you take a look at that. And anyone else who hasn't participated yet in the questionnaire, I was told that they were going to, fold it up or end it in the questionnaire part more than a month ago, but it's evidently still open. So I would take a look at it. And even if you don't have a chance to participate in the questions, at least get up to speed on what's being proposed, because it will be an important impact on our community if we can get it approved. Finally, the angled parking on Foreman Avenue. We've got finally an approval from the city clerk for our contractor to our designer to go ahead and do some designs and cost estimates for that project. Colby, you're shaking your head. You're muted.
I was just stretching my muscles. No, it wasn't anything to do with what you're saying. But
oh, okay.
I wasn't kidding. Yeah, just.
Yeah, you worried me suddenly.
No. Just.
Okay. Okay, good. New business. I think, of course, we had our presentation today. Community plan status. We got a report on that. creating the criteria for developers. That's something that I would still like to see us do. And I've got some ideas of how to do that, but we will do that offline. And finally, I just wanted to mention homeless encampments. Our committee at the moment doesn't have a special committee on homeless, but I'm sure most of us are following it. The city council is now, various city council people have identified campsites that they want to see cleared. And some of them have started to be cleared by a combination of agencies and the police department, fire department, and so forth. And it's kind of gone in various directions. Joe Biscayano down in the harbor has suddenly come up with 161 areas he wants cleared in his district. Niffy, on the other hand, is approaching it from a very different perspective. And Krikorian, I don't know what his take is on this. So we'll have to find out what his take is. But homeless is obviously a big issue in our community. And ideally, eventually, the planning we'll do for our community will eliminate homelessness. But it's a huge issue and it's going to take a long time. Any other new business comments? Jonathan?
Yeah, Jonathan.
Thank you. Having to do with the street, Riverside Drive scope, whatever it is. In listening to you, it's as if the neighborhood council is running that program, and maybe it is, but you were using the we pronoun, and I thought it was Beautification Partners and the Toluca Lake HOA homeowners and different organizations were creating a plan and hoping to have community support for it. That's not what you said. So I would question your use of the we need to get it approved as if we're all on board with it. We're still in the process of reviewing it. My other comment is to Colby. This is a business. It's the neighborhood council where people are volunteers, volunteering our time, but you're elected to do a job. And sometimes skill sets don't match up. If Ren needs to go and learn Zoom, this isn't working out. This meeting is very unsuccessful from the point of view of a stakeholder, but it's kind of a history at this point. The subject matter is fairly important. It involves money, developers, community emotion because of the way things are getting handled. People are being driven to the end of their patience. And I highly recommend you have some really capable, it appears to be very capable people on the committee. And I highly recommend that someone else chair this committee so that it runs smoother while Rain figures out how to run the Zoom, and maybe it can be visited later, but this is not working. Thank you.
Okay, the we I use does include the GTLNC. The Beautification Partners is a group made up of the homeowners, the Chamber of Commerce, the Garden Club, and GTLNC, and some other people and political representatives and so forth, who are all coming together to try to do things for the community. And when I say we, I'm not talking about GTLNC by itself, but rather a we of a much larger group of people out of Toluca Lake. And I still count myself as one of those. So I think it's, I don't mean to be offensive, and certainly the we shouldn't make anyone feel like they're somehow excluded, because the projects that are coming forward are public projects in a whole wide variety of ways, and they've been vetted in a wide variety of ways, depending on what the projects were and where they were located, public property, private property, et cetera. So anyway, I certainly hope you you understand, and you can go on the website for the Beautification Partners, and it's Toluca Lake Beautification Partners, and just go on the website and you can see the organization, who's in it, what the finances are. It's a project under Community Partners, which is a major organization that's been around a long time. So technically, they are the nonprofit, and they oversee our budget and they oversee our operation. They actually write the checks for us, et cetera. So if you're curious about, Toluca Lake Beautification Partners, you should, you can research it and go on Community Partners, find out about them. And I hope you'll feel better about how all this is going on. It's certainly not a secret organization or an exclusive organization, except to the sense that it's people who are willing to dedicate a fair amount of their time and energy to the improvement of the community. Any other comments or questions?
Yes, we have Tess, and then we have Fred. Hi, Tess.
Yeah, thank you. I had another comment entirely, but just to tack on to what we just heard about Toluca Lake Beautification Partners, I want to reiterate that I asked for and was told that I would receive a budget for streetscape from Ryan Altoon at 2 of the past community meetings. So I hope those will be made available. I have not seen those on either of the websites. So, and while there is some overlap, we have 4 board members now, Greater Toluca Lake Neighborhood Board members, who are also involved with Toluca Lake Beautification Partners. They are certainly not one and the same. The budgets are separate. So that's, I think, an important clarification. But my question before that came up, Ren and the committee, is what exactly is the appropriate use of our time for the Planning and Land Use Committee? Because we've heard a presentation today, which I think was probably premature, although I'm certainly happy to know about it. But what is the criteria for projects to be evaluated and for us to make time for these? And just because someone asks to present doesn't mean that they're necessarily ready. I think Brandon very wisely has cautioned us or suggested that we have some list of criteria. There needs to be some threshold criteria before this committee's time is used up, because it sounded to me like Armin wants to present at least twice more. And if that's what it needs to be, then that's what it needs to be. But this committee has to have some threshold criteria for if and when those projects come to us at the appropriate juncture, because our time is valuable. We're all volunteers here. I don't want to sit through 3 meetings or 3 presentations if we can just do it with 1. And certainly I appreciate the early notification that we get from the city, but that the decision as to what that criteria is and what we're going to listen to in terms of a presentation has to be a committee decision and not a unilateral decision by the chair. So could you please make sure that that is incorporated in the meeting minutes? And I would be very interested to hear what other committee members have to say about that. Thank you.
Just a note, Fred O'Berry has his hand raised also.
Okay, thank you very much. Really quick, Tess, I agree with what you just said, so I just echo that. But I just was wondering, is there any development on the status of getting a vice chair, or are we still doing that, or are we going to pursue it, or what's going on with that?
It's in the back, on the back burner. It was suggested, and I went back and forth with Tess, and I suggested what I wanted her to do, and she came back and effectively told me she wasn't going to do that, or effectively didn't do all that. So that's fine. But we'll keep talking about it, and if we can work it out, why, we'll work it out.
Is that something we could maybe put on an agenda?
If it looks like something we can work out, sure.
All right. I suggest we do that. If the other committee members agree with that, I would agree with that. All right. Thank you.
Well, Ren, just to be very clear, you asked me to do certain things that were beyond the scope of what I volunteered. You didn't offer me a position as vice chair of the committee, nor did I ask for it. But if we can have a conversation, I'm sure we can work it out, because I'm happy to help in whatever capacity. But I simply don't want to take orders from people. I'll do everything I can to be helpful. So I'll look forward to your call. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, Ren, I don't see any other hands raised, so.
Okay, I think we are adjourned. 8:37. Thank you all.
Ren.